Welcome to Courageous Conversations with Lionheart Coaching Co., where we talk about the hard parts of our journey and the courage it can sometimes take to find our way back to ourselves. I'm your host, Mandie Woodard, and on this episode, we're going to talk about the art of surrendering, free falling into the universe, truly letting go. This is something that has come up on repeat for me in the past week or so. So now I am bringing the conversation to you. All right, let's get into it. Hello, my friends. I'm so happy to be sitting here beginning this conversation with you. I am actually going to sidestep for a second because I just have to tell you I'm so grateful that everything has unfolded the way it has with this podcast, and I am actually able to even create this. And I know that these topics that are coming to me are because someone needs to hear them. So I kind of wanted to open up today with so much gratitude for you listening, sharing, and just being part of this journey. I truly don't even have words for how grateful I am. And so, okay, let me tell you, I want to talk about surrender today and what that means. When I am coming up with my topics to have conversations about, I really sit with them, because I want to make sure that whatever I say is pouring out of me, because in those moments, I know that I have surrendered to the universe and to God, and it's a lot of times not my words. It's just what's flowing through me. So surrender and letting go came up many times in this past week when I was coaching clients or giving Reiki. And I just thought, you know what, it can't just be my little circle of clients that need to hear this. It's more than that. And that's how I came up with this week's conversation. And ironically, when I'm creating an episode, I hop into a flow, right? And I kind of go through my journals and things that I've written, and I take a lot of notes so that I remember what I want to talk about. And truthfully, for my design, this is part of my design, my human design. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to episode 2, because I talk about that a lot there. But a part of my design is I hop into this flow and then I create in that space. But if that flow gets disrupted, holy cow, do I get bitter and frustrated. And it's taken me a long time to surrender to that disruption. And also trust that I'm being disrupted for a reason. Maybe it's because it's not time to create yet. Maybe it's I need to hear something else first. And truthfully, I started to try to record this Saturday. So today's Sunday. The episode releases Monday. I tried to record this Saturday, and I really had to surrender to the day because my plans were just being overran by children and things. And I just had to trust that it was going to get done when it was meant to get done. So here we are. And what a way to get this episode recorded, because all week I've surrendered to the creation process with it. But let's talk about surrendering. And why is this so difficult? Why is it so difficult to surrender? And what are some things you may need to surrender to? I would say we need to surrender to just about everything. It's not that you can't create a plan and then work your plan. But when you're trying to create something and you're being knocked off your path constantly, it's probably a sign that it's time to release the need for control within that plan. And we can't talk about surrender without also addressing our need to control things. So many of us have control issues. I mean, we want to control our day. We control the food that we eat. We control the plans that we're trying to make. If you're trying to achieve a goal, if you're trying to get work done, and that is necessary sometimes. It is necessary to list out everything and then work your plan so that you can complete something. But what if you could just take one step at a time and allow for the flow to come in between each step? And if things shift, releasing that control means being okay with the shift. I asked my teenage son what he thinks surrender means. Like, what does surrender mean if I say the word surrender to you? And he says, it feels like giving up. We don't want to surrender because we don't want to feel like we're giving up. But what if I told you that to surrender, one, is an art form? And you don't have to consider yourself an artist to be able to do that. To surrender and allow for flow to come in is what allows for the things that are meant for you to literally pull them into your world. And when we're trying to control all the details of a situation or something we're trying to achieve, we're not trusting that we are going to have what's meant for us find its way to us. We think we have to be the one to do that. I want to talk about this in terms of a goal. So let's say you're trying to achieve something right now. The best thing you can do is set it and forget it. Write it out. Speak it out. Claim it. Think of it as if it's already yours. Really think about the feeling. That's what really matters when you're trying to manifest a goal, when you're trying to create something. How are you going to feel when you get it? And put yourself in that feeling. And then put one foot in front of the other. And check in with yourself every step of the way. But write it out, put it down, set it aside, and forget it. That is surrendering and trusting that it's going to find its way to you, but also releasing the need to control, the need to make that happen, because maybe that's not what's for you. Maybe that's not what you're meant to do. Maybe you're not meant to have that specific thing because there's something so much better in store for you. I have personal experience in this, and I wanted to tell you a story about it. I actually have a couple stories of where this has shown up in my life. But yesterday when I was prepping for this episode, I was going through some of my old videos because I have recorded myself talking, rambling thoughts because I don't want to forget them. And I was listening to one of my videos and I almost cut it off because, I mean, y'all, your girl talks too much sometimes. But I started talking about how I was in a really low place. Actually, I'll be honest with you, it was a year and a half ago that I recorded this. 2021 was a very rough year for me. And so much was happening that was out of my control. And I was constantly trying to let go while also panicking on the inside. So I knew surrender was the answer, but I felt like my foundation was falling out from underneath of me. I was in a career that I could feel was ending, but I didn't want it to. I could feel that foundation was falling out from under me, but you almost have to paint this visual. The foundation is falling out from under because there is a new, bigger foundation about to take its place. So when you feel like your world is falling apart, truthfully, it's because there is a new one that has been created for you. And if I tried to force myself to stay in that space and keep pushing, keep forcing, keep pushing, keep forcing, then I would not have landed on my new foundation, which is here, talking to you. I would not have started my new company and started seeing clients in person and being able to do the work that I am doing had I tried to force the other outcome that I wanted. I wanted it so badly. At least I thought I did. I wanted it so badly, but it wasn't what was for me. And my story is nowhere near complete. None of our stories are. But I'm in the beginning of a new chapter. And I don't know how it goes. I don't. But I can tell you how happy I am now. I'm so happy now. And I'm not even, like, I've made my goals and I set it and forget it. I've got to be honest with you. I don't even know the measurements. I'm not measuring it. I'm trusting that I'm going to open the book that I put my goal in a couple years from now. And I'm going to say, wow, we made that happen. Because that's how it works. We set these year goals and we really overestimate what we can accomplish in a year. But then we underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 years, 10 years. And I have heard Tony Robbins say that before. And I've even quoted him and posted it on, like, a little New Year's post. And I don't think I truly got it. I don't think I truly got it until yesterday when I was reviewing my stuff, because I was reading my journal from meditations, like journaling after I have meditations, and writing down the things that I was hoping to call in for myself and the things that I really wanted. And I can see the things that happened and I can see the things that didn't happen. And I can also see that it's because something better happened instead. The other thing is, though, when we start to panic in those moments when we're losing control because what we're wanting to happen is not happening, we start to do things that aren't in alignment with who we are. We start to do things that might go against our values or our integrity. And I think it's really important that we put ourselves in check. You can ask yourself right now, are you being true to yourself? Do you have a goal that you're trying to accomplish and it's taking you out of your integrity? Are you operating in alignment with what's right for you? And I love human design because it really gives you that answer for, hey, this is how you make decisions. This is how you listen to your intuition. Stop overthinking and tap in and connect with your body in this way. Connect with your gut. Connect with your intuition. Allow your emotional center, if that's your authority, to have its wave. Ride the wave, and then when you get to that low end, that's when you make your decisions. I'll tell you the moment, though, that I actually released the need for control last year. It was in December. Actually, scratch that. It was actually in November. Me and my husband were on our way home from our anniversary weekend trip, and we had some big decisions that we were going to have to be making. And I was trying to control the narrative. I was trying to control the outcome. And what happened is we were on opposite ends. Like, he was saying we need to do one thing and I was saying we need to do the other. The moment he released control, the moment he said, you know what, let's just make this decision in April of next year. And the moment he released that pressure and that need to control, I then released pressure and the need to control. And we ended up not waiting until April of the next year. We ended up making a decision in December, but because we both had released the need to control the outcome, we surrendered. We truly surrendered. And then everything unfolded just the way it was supposed to. And even in that process, I was checking in with myself. So in my human design, I am what's called splenic. And when you're splenic, you make decisions in the now. And it's very intuitive, but you got to listen to the voice. It's only going to tell you once. And so we were making a decision, and I could feel us leaning in the wrong direction. And my body actually started to act like I was getting the flu. I felt feverish. I felt sick to my stomach. My throat started hurting. My nose literally started running. I was not sick. It was the most bizarre thing. But I knew it was like, okay, I'm not listening to my intuition. So I said to him, let's just go get lunch, and then we'll come back to this. And we did. And while we were at lunch, my husband got a phone call, and it was the correct thing that we needed. And I immediately started to feel better. And I don't mean to be so cryptic about this. I'm not trying to be. I had earned a car in a company that I was with, and it was killing us by December because it was a very slow year. And the pressure I felt to maintain what I needed to maintain to keep that car was not good for me. And by the time we got to December, I had released the need to control, and that's what was happening. So we got a call from another dealership, and a better option for us was there to be able to trade in that vehicle and get something that would not be so big of a financial undertaking. I'm telling you this because it was so profound for me, and I was really able to see it play out in front of me, what happens when we surrender. And that's not the first time that we've found ourselves there. We were trying to move in 2016. We wanted to be able to get out of the home we were in only because it was much smaller than we thought it was when we moved in. And we discovered that after baby number 3 came along. But we also needed to sell it because we had another property that was a rental property. And we did not have good tenants. We were going to literally be in financial ruin if we didn't sell one so we could fix the other and sell the other. So it was kind of a little entanglement that we were in. And so we sold the one, which we wanted to move anyways. I really want to say that. We wanted to move anyways, so it all worked out. So we sold the one, and we put a contract down on a property, and we lost it. And then we put another contract on another property, and we lost it. And as soon as we were like, all right, that's it. The right house is going to find its way to us. We're going to end up where we're supposed to be. Sure enough, in divine timing, we pulled up to where we live now, and it was like, oh, wow, this is where we're meant to be. And we realized what was happening. So that's surrender in the sense of we have something we're trying to achieve. We have a goal. We have things that we want to do, whether that's a move or a job change. But I also want to talk to you about surrendering when maybe you're in a really hard situation, emotionally draining situation. Because sometimes really unreasonable things happen to us, and we want to find the reason. We want to find that there is a reason for what we just went through. But sometimes there just isn't a reason. We lose someone we love. Someone leaves us. And then we're left feeling alone and scared. And we want to believe that that didn't just happen for nothing. So we hold on to that control or that wound until we find that there is a reason for why it happened. Or maybe we want to pull that person back in. They've left us, but we want them back. This could be maybe a child relationship. Maybe you're a parent and your child is disconnected from you, or a spouse has left you, or a friendship and a friend says, I don't want to be friends anymore. Or maybe someone has passed away and it was totally unexpected. And we feel like we're losing control because everything is just falling out from underneath of us. How on earth are we supposed to surrender in those moments? How are we supposed to surrender when it feels like our entire world is crumbling around us and all we want to do is just hold up the little bit that we have? The first thing you have to do is just accept that there isn't always a logical reason. There isn't always a logical reason that things happen. And instead of trying to now control the rest of the outcome, what can you do to step back and take pause? It's when we step back and pause that divine guidance can come in. And here's the thing, we have been so conditioned in the way that we make decisions that we drown our intuition out. We really do. So I want to ask you, how can you get back to listening to your intuition? How can you take a moment for yourself so that you can allow for that inner guidance to be louder than what everybody is telling you? The next thing you have to do is find radical acceptance. You have to get to a place of radical acceptance. Our biggest source of stress is trying to force things we cannot control. We have to accept what's happened. Accepting something does not make you okay with it. We can accept our current circumstances and still be really not okay with what's going on. But if you're going to truly surrender, you have to first accept where you are and what's happened. And that's really hard sometimes. Really hard. Words are easy to say. It's easy for me to sit here and tell you to have radical acceptance. It's easy for me to sit here and tell you how to surrender. It's much more difficult to do it. And if we're struggling to surrender in these spaces that we find ourselves in, it's a good time to ask yourself, if you are in a battle with God, what's your spiritual life look like? Because a lot of times we don't surrender because we don't really believe that there is something else good for us. We don't believe that God has our back, that the universe has our back. And God, I want to make this clear, God can be whatever God is for you. It's that divine guidance, that higher power. And I'm not here to tell you what that looks like. I'm just here to ask you to connect with what it looks like for you. And if you have none of that, then that's a sign that you're actually in a spiritual crisis. If you're feeling depressed and anxious and like you cannot release that need for control, that's a spiritual crisis. Caroline Myss, one of my favorite spiritual teachers of all time, has said that a spiritual crisis and depression look the exact same. The difference, though, is that a spiritual crisis has this little jewel of grace inside that indicates there's a reason for this suffering. It's not without meaning. But they present the same. There's the same sense of despair. So the only way to figure out if that's you, if you're in a spiritual crisis, is ask yourself, well, what's your relationship look like? What's your spiritual life look like? I know last year when I was depressed and anxious, I was in a spiritual crisis. We experienced something called the dark night of the soul. And we have to confront what's happening in order to come out of that. And the biggest part of that is surrendering and trusting that you're going to pull in what you need to see and hear and do and what's meant for you. How do we move on, though, if we're in a hard place? The answer is with love. and forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is for you, so that you do not have to carry that anymore. And how do we choose love in the midst of insanity? How do we do that? We have to really lean in and surrender. We have to start that healing journey. And healing is scary because it pulls us out of our control and it can get really messy. Healing is such a journey that is so beautiful, but it is messy at times and we feel out of control. So a lot of people choose not to heal. And it's one of the most intimidating things you can ever do is to actually start a healing journey. And it's really okay if you're not there yet. We're not judging ourselves. I'm not judging you for where you are. If you're not there yet, that's okay. To surrender is to also believe all in perfect timing. And I really do believe all in perfect timing. But for today, I'm going to leave you with this. You have this incredible ability to heal and transform within you. We are not meant to stay broken. Nothing in nature stays broken. We all have this ability to heal. And in that healing journey, we are really called to surrender and let go. You have to do things that make sense for you. You have to only listen to your intuition. What is aligned with your soul? But we don't get to that space without struggle and mess. And in order to really get there, we have to release, open our arms, and free fall into the universe. It's okay to make your plans. It's okay to set goals. But then let go and let what's for you come to you. And if you're in a season of hurt and pain, surrender and know that it's going to be okay. You're still here. You woke up today. You get to heal. Because nothing is meant to stay broken. We are all meant to heal. And I want you to think about what happens when you scoop up a pile of sand. We have to hold it ever so gently, because the moment we start to squeeze it, it falls between our fingers. We lose it. We can't force things. We have to just hold it ever so gently and allow for that divine guidance to come in. So, take pause if you need to take pause. Sit in meditation, journal, go for a walk in nature. Visually see whatever it is lifting off of you and surrendering to the moment you're in. All right, my friends. Please remember that you are valued, you are loved, and you're phenomenal. If you found value in this episode, I would love for you to share it. If you feel called to, please write a review on whatever app you're listening on, and make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss a single episode. Bye now.